A young bloke falls for his neighbor's missus. After getting involved in a steamy affair, the handsome bloke finds himself caught in a downward spiral. Poor guy, he thought he'd hit the jackpot with this dream Sheila, but in reality it was more like a ticket to the slaughterhouse. In the opening moments of the film, our protagonist Doug gazes at the idyllic coastal town, a world apart from his familiar suburban life. He reflects on the carefree nature of childhood and how it often shields us from consequences. As he settles in, his mum gently teases him about his vast collection of books. Their house, being next to a lively pier adorned with boats, piques Doug's curiosity, leading him to meet an old mate who dangles tales of summer romances worth exploring. Together, they venture into a bustling pub where an unexpected disturbance momentarily interrupts the music, but what follows is extraordinary. Doug starts playing the guitar and captivates everyone present. During this exchange, our hero receives not only applause but also an apron symbolizing the official start of an unforgettable summer journey. As Doug settles into his empty house, he announces his return with a hopeful shout, only to be met with silence. Seeking comfort in his room, he looks at photos before his attention is drawn to the sight of a new couple moving in next door. Mesmerized by the radiant beauty of the woman, named Lena, Doug becomes even more curious and tries to catch a glimpse of her. However, an unexpected moment catches him off guard when Lena looks up and meets his gaze, a fleeting connection that surprises our protagonist and prompts him to look away. Eager for adventure, Doug sets off on his bike, and fate seems to be on his side when he manages to catch another glimpse of Lena, gently brushing sand off her shoes. Later, while chatting with his mate about their romantic escapades during this eventful summer, he stumbles upon laughter coming from the other side of the beach. Doug had always dreamed of living by a lake, but he didn't expect to find such a captivating scene upon arriving at his new home. The neighbors have just moved in and own a beautiful boat that catches his eye. His dad introduces him to Elliot, the boat's owner, who seems friendly and generous. Elliot offers Doug a job fixing his boat and promises to pay him well. Doug agrees, eager to get closer to the mother and the mysterious woman living with Elliot. Doug watches her swim in the lake, admiring her figure and body. She gets out of the water and heads to the shower, ignoring Doug's gaze. She undresses, revealing her naked body to Doug's eyes. He can't look away, even when Elliot comes out and asks him about the boat. Doug tries to act casual, telling him the boat only needs a few minor repairs. Elliot nods, saying he might have to leave town soon. He asks Doug how much he wants for the job, and Doug says $12. Elliot smiles, saying he would have given him $20. Doug feels a twinge of guilt, wondering if he's betraying Elliot's trust. He turns away from the window, hoping Lena is safe and happy. He didn't know Elliot was a violent and abusive man. Elliot arrives at the marina, where a stern guard stops him and demands to see his ID. He smiles and gives it, confident he has nothing to hide. Doug joins him on his yacht and admires his lavish lifestyle. He wonders how Elliot can afford all this, and Elliot shrugs, saying it's thanks to his charm and wealth. In the morning, Doug spots Lena again, walking past his window. He's about to call out to her when he hears a scream. He rushes outside and sees Lena standing near her car, terrified by a spider inside. He bravely removes the spider and squashes it. He also fixes her car, which had a few issues. He feels a spark when she touches his hand, but he quickly steps away. He tells his mate about the encounter, who advises him to be careful of Lena's husband. He says he seems like a bad egg, and Doug doesn't want to upset him. On his way home from work, Doug sees Lena sitting on her house steps, looking distraught. She tells him she's locked her keys inside and can't get in. She begs him not to tell Elliot, who advised her to be more careful. Suddenly, a storm breaks out, and Lena leads Doug to the back of the house. She shows him a window and asks him to break it with a rock and climb inside. Doug hesitates, but Lena assures him it's the only way. Doug throws the rock and breaks the glass, then slips through the window. He opens the door for Lena, who thanks him warmly. She invites him in for a drink and offers him a cold beer. They chat, and Lena notices he has a cut on his hand. She takes a tissue and gently wipes the blood, then leans in and whispers that everything will be all right. Doug felt a strong attraction and kisses Lena, but it was awkward. He apologizes and says he's not very good at it. But Lena smiles and tells him not to worry. She tells him he just needs a bit of practice and kisses him again, more passionately. They start undressing each other and soon make love. The next morning, they cuddle in bed. Lena praises his performance and asks if he's had any experience. He tells her it was his third time, and she snuggles up to him. Doug leaves with a smile, thinking back on the moment he shared with Lena. He meets up with his mate, who tells him he called last night and plays a recording of Doug's moans. He then shows him some girls he could go out with, but Doug ignores him. Doug can't stop thinking about Lena and starts training to impress her. He's fixing the boat when Lena reappears and says her husband sent her to check on him. They go into the boat, and Lena asks him to close the hatches and seduces him. They kiss passionately and make love again. That night, Doug is at the pub when he sees Lena walk in with her husband. His mate comes up behind him and points out some girls, saying it's their lucky day. Doug, on his bike, spots Elliot near a shop. Curious, Doug enters the shop and finds Lena inside. Their encounter leads them to slip out the back door and share an intimate moment. However, their moment is interrupted by Elliot's unexpected arrival in the back room, looking for Lena. Tension rises as Lena kisses Doug before slipping away. Later, Elliot opens up about his relentless nature and admits he sees himself in Doug's dedication and work ethic as he inspects Doug's boat repair work. As fate would have it, Elliot announces his upcoming trip out of town. Seizing the opportunity offered by Elliot's absence, Doug arranges a secret picnic with Lena. In the midst of their intimacy, Lena reveals a phone meant to facilitate their secret communication due to Elliot's excessive paranoia. Eagerly grabbing this new tool, Doug heads to the kitchen, closely followed by Lena. Unfortunately for them, they're spotted by the gardener. Doug sees Lena with Elliot on the yacht. Elliot asks Doug to test the boat. While sailing, Elliot narrowly avoids an accident. Getting hit by a beam, fueled by adrenaline, Elliot questions Doug about his love life, and Doug reveals his status. The engine breaks down. Elliot goes to fix it, leaving Lena to tell Doug she wants a divorce. Elliot then tasks Doug with fixing the engine. Later, Lena calls Doug in tears after Elliot attacked her. Doug wants to alert the police, but Lena refuses. Back at his place, Lena invites him to the beach where she opens up about her newfound freedom and the legal battle with Elliot's ex-wife. Doug's mate suspects his secret relationship, but Doug denies it. Back home, Doug learns Elliot has returned and receives an urgent call from Lena. At her place, Doug discovers Elliot's death after a violent argument. Terrified, Lena begs Doug for help, and he reassures her, insisting they must keep up appearances in this dangerous situation. One evening, Lena chats with Doug's parents, creating tension. Later, Doug heads to Lena's, but she has to leave. They come up with a plan to fake Elliot's accident, but Lena finds it implausible. Doug then suggests taking Elliot's body on his boat and saying they argued before Elliot left. As their plan unfolds, a security guard approaches Doug, who pretends to be Elliot and escapes on the boat. The next day, the police investigate what seems to be an accident while other officers visit Lena's place. On the boat, Doug inflicted head injuries on Elliot with a beam, then used alcohol and flammable materials to create the illusion of an accident. Nervous after this charade, Doug resumes his normal life. While the cops frequenting his work discuss the incident, an investigator arrives in town to uncover the truth about Elliot's death, as his insurance now goes to his widow Lena. The investigator questions Lena about her relationship with Elliot, but Lena denies any infidelity. Meanwhile, the local police get a tip from a security guard who saw a suspect near the sea the night of the murder, possibly Elliot himself. The police also speak to Doug's father, the property owner. Worried, Doug asks the guard who he saw and learns it might have been Elliot. The investigator visits the crime scene and notices a window broken by Doug at Lena's place. She also discovers from Doug's friend that Doug has a secret find. Doug gets angry at his friend for spilling the beans and storms off. A police officer unexpectedly arrives at Doug's place to question him about Lena's recent visit. Panicked, Doug tries to contact Lena but is interrupted by his parents' return. He's taken to the station where the officer questions him insistently about the links between Elliot and Lena. Doug's mum steps in to defend her son. Lena then contacts Doug and arranges to meet him at a boat shed where she tells him they need to part ways for a while, without explanation. Back home, Doug is again questioned by the officer who takes his fingerprints and a DNA sample before taking him in a car for further questioning. Despite everything, Doug remains resolute in his silence. The police make a discovery thanks to the blood sample taken by the officer. But Doug faces obstacles orchestrated by Lena to prove his innocence, like the murder of an eyewitness. Doug manages to evade police surveillance and meets Lena by the river where she tries to accuse him of attempted rape. Doug is arrested by the police. A sympathetic officer temporarily releases him to find evidence. Doug goes to Lena's motel to retrieve his phone containing evidence, but he's not alone. Lena arrives, followed by the agent. He tells him he wants the phone and that it contains everything he needs. Then, he sees something that shocks him. Lena and the agent have the same tattoos. He realizes they are lovers and have been working together from the start to set Doug up as a scapegoat. Finally, Lena gives the phone to Doug before running off with the agent and the insurance money. She still loves him, in her twisted way. Doug, who has done time, wonders if he would go on this tumultuous journey again. Lena and her accomplice are still on the run. And you, are you ready to do it and do it again? Anyway, think twice before getting involved with your neighbor. It could cost you an arm and a leg. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more movie summaries. See you later.